I think we are live now. Greetings, everyone. My name is Burair Ali Hussain, and we are now again live with an amazing personality. And we are now running a 16th episode of Brainstorming with Burair. Brainstorming with Burair is a platform where I invite people from all around the world who have done some great things. So today's guest, he's an amazing person. He runs live events. He deals with energy, and we let him know about uh, in through his words. So I invite Mr. Nick Haines.
Oh, thank you so
Hello.
much. Hello, thank you so much. And that was a lovely introduction. And I do love your graphics. They're really good, very clever.
Thank you. I just like these things because of the COVID. I learned all those things, so I like to do some of the things. So,
Yeah.
Nick, how have you started? What's your life journey? What has made you so amazing? Can you tell me about that? Yes.
um, that's a really good question. I think one of the things that made me who I am is when I was 5 years old, my mother was really ill, and we were moved into different families. So I was moved out of the family home, and every 3 months I had to move to a different family. So I kept moving around. And I think what happens when you're put under stress is you become very hyper vigilant. You start looking at everything. You trying to work out how everything works, how people respond. You get really observant, and you can also get very anxious. So by the time I was a teenager, I had become very anxious and frightened and panics and worried about everything and what would go wrong. And then in 1980, I got a job in America to an acupuncture college, and I had to do some studying there. And as soon as I started studying the five energies, which is a way to understand the world, it was like, if you've seen the film The Matrix, where they can see the code. It was like that. I saw the Matrix. I could see the code. I could understand politics and economics and relationships. It was like my brain changed, and that was what 40 years ago. And my anxiety disappeared. I became very calm, and I just have a picture and model to see how the world works. So 2019, one of the things I was talking about was that we would have in 2020 enormous amounts of isolation and loneliness. There would be loss, there would be disconnection. Had no idea how it would happen. I didn't guess COVID, but through the energies, you can understand what's likely to happen and also understand your reaction to it. So from when I was 20 through to now 62, I've never worked for anyone else. I've always worked for myself. I've always coached people, worked with people with the energies, helped companies, organizations, hospitals, businesses, just to understand themselves and also to understand the economics and what's likely to be happening as well. So it's all I've ever done. And
So, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you can read other energies, and first you have a little bit of, I can say, prophecy, or I mean, you can see the future. So, how did you, I mean, elaborate it in words? I mean, how you feel the energy, or just you interact with someone, or just how did it's like?
That's a really good question. I would like to say it's that mysterious and it's that, but all it is really is that the ancient Chinese, and they're not the same as the modern Chinese. They have a very different, but the ancient Chinese, for 5,000 years, they observed how the world worked, and they saw patterns that kept repeating, and they recorded them down, and they saw patterns and they recorded them down until about just over 2,000 years ago. They had a really clear understanding of economics and politics and personal development, business, and then in a 15-year period of time, all that information was lost. It was all lost, and the only thing that was left was some understanding in medicine, which is where I got it from. So the 5 energies are really, they're just a map. They're a way to understand complexity and to understand how things are. So it isn't what I feel. I just look at the energies and I say, this year is going to be this energy. It's going to have this quality. This person has this energy. They're going to have these qualities, etc. So it's a book. It's like being able to read a book. And I can just read the book and I can say, okay, this is what it means. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I can relate to that because I have interviewed someone who is from America, and he was learning Tai Chi. So
Yeah.
he also told that there is something Shaolin and Tai Chi, and there is something relation to the energy as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, and the pyramids, great pyramids of I mean Egypt, they also have some relation to energy. So,
Yes.
I mean, in very easy words, how can someone balance his or her energy? I mean, if someone, I mean, no one has contacted you, but before you're connecting to you, uh, what what are the precautions they have to take to balance their energy?
Mm. They I think if we go backwards a bit, it's so what we have is we have 5 energies within us, and we have some that are more dominant, some that are stronger, and depending upon what your energy is, decides what you need to do to keep it in balance. So, for example, I have a lot of wood energy, and wood energy, I have a lot of wood and earth energy, and wood energy has a problem when it gets stuck. So for me to keep my energy and myself balanced, I have to keep moving. I have to keep moving my body. I have to keep moving my mind. Um, I have to just keep interested and curious. And if I do that, then my wood energy keeps flowing. I have ideas and I feel well. My earth energy requires me to eat well. If I don't eat well, my brain goes very unclear. So I have to move my mind and body, and I have to eat well, and that's what keeps me in balance. I don't need much sleep. I sleep for 5 hours a night, and I feel fine. Whereas another energy, they would need to sleep to stay in balance, and another energy would need to have good breath and good lungs. And then with fire energy, which is the 5th energy, they need to have laughter, they need to have contact, they need to have love. And so if something like COVID, where many people are shut away, if you have a lot of fire energy, it's very difficult. For me, it's easy. I don't find it hard. But with fire, your fire goes out if you're not connecting with people.
Yes, yes,
So
I can.
the answer to your question, it depends on your energy as to what you need. So
Okay, that's amazing.
mm,
Like you have mentioned wood energy, and I mean the
so
other energies as well. How many energies are there? And 5
there,
energies, I think. So
there are
yeah.
5 altogether. The
Okay.
first one is water energy. That's related to winter. And if you have a lot of water energy, your big question is, Are we safe? Is it safe? How are things going to work out? So they may well be thinking about the risk. They also have a lot of authority. And you'll often see, as with you, very strong jaw. Their jaw will be strong and they'll have an authority. So that's water energy. They need to sleep. They need to have plenty of rest and sleep. They don't always. Wood energy related to spring. That's about new ideas. Their big question is, am I free? Are we free? And they need to constantly keep moving with ideas and imagination, new things. Don't always finish new things. Fire energy, that's related to summer. And their big question is, am I loved? Do I bring joy? Is there happiness? How are you feeling? Is it all good? And they need happiness, they need joy, they need fun, they need connection. Then earth energy is late summer. And their big question is, do I understand? Am I understood? And you'll often find there'll be teachers or they'll try to understand things. So when I had my early childhood trauma of being moved around, I didn't understand why it happened. So I became anxious because I didn't understand. And then as soon as I had the energies of the map, I could understand and my anxiety went. And then the fifth energy is meta energy, and that's related to autumn, to fall. And at that stage, things disconnect, they end. And that energy is always saying what's missing, what is incomplete, what needs to be done. So they're very precise. And we can have one or two of these energies stronger in us. So those are the five energies with a little overview.
So, in your website, you have mentioned a test. What's it all about? Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, yeah,
Vitality test. Yes.
yes, the vitality test. So
Yeah.
I had when I had a very busy practice, I had a 2-year waiting list to work with me. So people had to wait 2 years before they could see me or have an appointment. So I thought it would be really good if I could create something online that anybody could take and find out what their balance of these five energies are. So that's why I created the vitality test. It's completely free. And it tells you your balance of these five energies and then gives you advice about how to live with it, how to support it. And it's completely free to anybody. And we have thousands of people across the world, all over the world, take it all the time. And yeah, it's very popular, and it's free.
Yeah. So I recommend everyone to go and check it out because it's amazing. I have seen some of the questions, and
Mm,
they are great. That uh, it helps analyzing yourself, that how we are doing and how can we contribute to the society, and how
mm,
at the end you will get the answer that what is your energy and where you should work on. So
yes.
if someone has a problem, or I mean, if someone has a low energy of anything, any one of the energies, so how can he contact with you? How can he I mean, uh, how do you suggest him?
Yes. So the best thing to do is to take the vitality test. It will give contact details. We have a Facebook group, and people ask questions. We have we run little courses for people to get to know your energies, and things like that. And then I have there on the website you'll see books. I've got books written about them as well. So there's one all about relationships, because that's very interesting. How does one energy get on with another one? What would be the problem? What would be the issue? What would be the challenge? So if you go to Five Institute, and I think fiveinstitute.com, and I think you're going to put a link. It's
Yeah.
all there. Lots of free content, lots of ways to support. support each other. And it's also, I think the energies are very, very important in terms of how we get on as a culture, how we get on as a world. How do we get on between different cultures and different countries? And because countries have energies as well, and they can sometimes not get on because they have an energy that they don't understand each other. So if we can understand the energies, we can understand other countries and why they seem. So America has lots of wood energy. So they're all about freedom and this and that. You can't hold me down, ideas and stuff. And that can be quite tricky for other countries because injustice and stuff. And other countries have different other energies. So we can understand countries and people. And then I also have a lot of work that I do with something called the No More Boxes movement. And that's really designed that we don't put each individual in a box and you say, okay, these people from this country, they are like that. So a country can have an energy as a whole, but that doesn't mean each person in the country is the same. So the No More Boxes movement has some really good stuff on how do we live together as well. So that's one of the things I'm really interested in doing. So the 5 Institute is internal and external cultures. How do we live together, and how do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself, and how do we live together? That's what I'm really interested in.
Yes, that's great. So I'm thinking about that in subcontinent there is a concept that relates to chakras, and I have read some of the books, and some call it meridian points, some call it
Yes.
chakras. So how do you explain it, and how do you relate it with your, I mean, vitality test on energies? What's the difference in that?
Oh, you ask such good questions. I love these. I love these questions.
Thank
So basically, we're all energy, and we've had different cultures have found ways to describe where the energies build up and sit. And we just have different cultures and they just have different languages really to describe very much the same thing. So when you look at them, there is a big overlap between the different energy centers. So the chakras are where certain energies start to build up, and the acupuncture channels and the points are where those energies build up in certain places or come nearer to the surface. But they're very, very similar. And would you like to hear a funny story? Can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well,
I would like to.
I think it's funny. I think it was funny. So there was this man in America who invented a machine that could measure the certain parts of the skin where you had more energy and less resistance. And he spent years and years mapping out where all these individual points were on the body to show where this machine was picking up less skin resistance. And he mapped it all out, and he spent all this time mapping it out and then presented it. And someone said to him, that's exactly the same as the acupuncture points. All he'd done is just found the points with a machine. So I think he spent nearly 10 years working it all out, and he could have just looked in an ancient Chinese book and seen them all. So I found it sadly amusing. So
Yeah, amazing. So I also remember there is a technique that is well known, EFT technique, emotional freedom technique,
yes,
where you hit some points, some of
yeah,
like near the nose or and on
yeah.
that. So they are also related. So I mean, what I see that every culture has something related to the other culture. We just all need to open up ourselves, or be ready to learn something new.
Yes.
So there's a term that is widely used, that is called learn, unlearn, and relearn. And in
Mm.
today's environment, I feel that we have to unlearn to relearn new things, because it's the new normal. So
Mm.
how one can unlearn and relearn different things, because it's a difficult thing. One has to master it.
Mm. So I find the energy is really helpful for this when you do it. So say if you're with a group of people and you're introducing something new, you've got to let go of something old and you introduce something new. What you have to do is you have to be aware that each energy will have a problem with something new and a problem with letting go of something old. And once you understand what their problem is, then you can help them with it. So if we just go back to the energies, and it's related to each of the big question again. So water energy, if they don't feel safe with the thing that is new, or they don't think there are enough resources, they'll go, oh no, this isn't safe. We don't have enough resources. We can't do it. It's too risky. And they won't be able to let go of the old and come to the new. If people with a lot of wood energy and their big question is, am I free? Are we free? If you force them into something new that they don't think is their own decision, they'll go, no one can tell me what to do. Oh no, don't tell me what to do. Oh no. And they won't do it because they're being told to do it. Even though it might be sensible and it might be really good, nobody can tell me what to do. Nobody pushes me, and they won't do it. People with a lot of fire energy, which the big question is, am I loved? Do I bring joy? You introduce something new, but you fail to celebrate their past. And you say, God, haven't we done well? Wasn't it fantastic? We did brilliant. Now let's do this next thing. If you just say everything was wrong in the past, let's do this new thing, they'll go, oh, didn't I do good enough? Wasn't it good? So you have to celebrate and be happy about everything that went on, but yet move forward. People with a lot of earth energy, if they don't understand what it is that they're meant to do or understand why they're meant to do it, then they will get very stressed and not be able to do it. And metal energy, with their big question, what's missing? Is it complete? If what you're suggesting is too imperfect or too inefficient, then they won't want to do it. They'll say, well, no, that's not good enough. You're missing this. You haven't done this. This isn't right. I'm not doing this. It's just not good enough. So they won't do it. But you've got to get them to realize that when new things happen, when something is new, it's forming in an imperfect state. So they have to recognize that new things will be imperfect, and their job is to make them perfect. And with the water energy, you have to make them realize that actually you're the person to make this new thing safe, because that's what you think about. And with the wood energy, with this concern of being trapped and think, well, you come up with ideas, you be the inventor, you be the creator of these new things. And when they're like that, they're fine. And fire energy, you get them on board and they get everyone excited and they're all happy and let's all do this. Come on, everybody. And they talk and they communicate and they share and earth energy, if you can spend the time so they understand, they can be then the teachers for everybody else and bring us all together through understanding. So if we're going to create change and we're going to move, we have to recognize that some people have a dominant energy, and that energy needs something to be okay. And once we get that, then nobody is wrong. We're all just our energy, and we need. So I have to have a bit of freedom, want to have some fun, and I need to understand what's going on. If I don't understand what's going on, I'm stressed or I'm panicky, which is what happened when I was a child. And now I do understand everything. I have no anxiety. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And that was such a great question. Thank you for that.
Thank you for coming to my show, and I can relate to this because when someone has a good relationship with someone, he usually says that that person understands me, and what's happening behind that the person is, I mean, helping out his energy in
Yes.
balancing or in sharing that energy and mitigating the all of the negative things. So because of the COVID, people are suffering from different things, that is anxiety, stress. But the main thing, that is not the main thing. I don't think so. But people have problem of money. So what is the
Mm.
frequency of money? Because everything has a frequency. So how do you explain that money? How can we
Mm.
connect with money, and what is the frequency of money?
Oh, I really hope my answers are as good as your questions, because your questions are just, yeah. So there are three things about money that we need to consider. The first one is what I call social conditioning. So this is your energy about money has been given to you from previous generations, and also from the stories and the books and the films and the things that you heard. So society has conditioned you to have a relationship with money that might not be helpful for you. So that is kind of like socially conditioned in you. We have, and it's starting in June, we have a game called the Game of Boxes. And if you go to my website, you can see it. And the Game of Boxes is designed to change your social conditioning around money, to give you your proper relationship with money. Okay. So the first thing to recognize is we all are social conditioned by our society, and that will give us a confused or unhelpful relationship with money. And money might come towards us and we go, oh, no, 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 and we push it away because we have a belief that if I'm wealthy, I'll lose my friends, or if I'm wealthy, people will try to steal it, or if I'm wealthy, stories, stories, stories. So those are socially conditioned. The next thing we have with money is to do with our direct energy, our energy ourselves, as to what we will do. And it can often be how we over and we underspend. So people with a lot of water energy, big question, am I safe? Is it safe? They will always keep overspending on keeping safe. So insurances, I won't do this, I need to have resources, I better not spend this, I must have some money, I must keep safe. So they sometimes don't make money because they're worried the whole time they'll be under-resourced, and they often build up big reserves of money or spend the money on insurance to protect themselves in case they don't have it. Whereas wood energy, they will overspend on their brilliant ideas. So I spent all my money on another great idea. I've had an idea. I'm going to spend some money. I'm going to do this. Or they'll spend their money to be free. So they'll take a lower paid job that means they can work the hours when they want to work and no one can tell them what to do, and they work for themselves, and they could earn more money somewhere else, but being free is more important. People, a lot of fire energy, big question, am I loved? Do I bring joy? They might spend all their money on making themselves happy or making other people happy, and they are very much in the moments. They won't think about the long term. So you have someone in a marriage with water energy thinking about the long term, and someone else with fire energy thinking about the moment. Then earth energy, which is, do I understand? Am I understood? They will spend all their money on education. And I spend my money on good ideas, and then all the rest of my money, I just spend it all the time buying books, reading, understanding. I spend it all on education because I'm worried I don't understand. And metal energy, big question, what's missing, what isn't there, this perfection thing. They will either not spend any money because they don't want to waste it, or they will spend crazy amounts of money on the very best thing. So they can have a car that's perfectly all right, or a music system that's perfectly all right, or clothes that just are fine, are okay. But they will do that. They will go and buy the very best clothes, or the very best car, or the very best. So our energy will determine what we spend, how we save, and our relation. So you have social conditioning, and then you have your energy. And then the third thing is, it's really how good are we at leveraging our talent and skill? How good are we at whatever it is that we do? How can we get more of that through leverage? So you have a great talent around interviewing and great questions, and you're leveraging through StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube. So you're using that to get more people to listen to your great questions to then. So, but every energy will leverage in a different way, and they'll have a different way of getting money to flow towards them. So, so they'll each do it in different ways. And if you understand your energy and you understand your leverage, then you can get money to flow towards you. Unless you have social conditioning that then says, no, I don't want it. Or it comes your
Yeah,
way and then you spend it in crazy amounts because your energy says, buy a Ferrari. Look, so the game of boxes is all about, and it's played over 21 days, and it's all about changing our social conditioning, getting to know our energy, and being with other people that are exploring this. So I hope that answer was as good as your question.
definitely, definitely. I got my answer, but it leads to another question. That is, uh, yeah, because you talked about social conditioning, and
Mm,
social conditioning. I mean, you have a program that is coming for that will be going on 21 days, and someone who wants to who wants to change his mindset, he wants to do something on his life. But what if he doesn't have a good environment, doesn't have a good circle of friends, doesn't have a good family, who is not, I mean, he has gone through your program, social conditioning, you have told them that you should do this thing to change your mindset. But what if he's getting all those negative thoughts, negative information, negative things from his environment, from the people around him? How can he avoid that thing?
mm.
So because it's difficult, very difficult.
Very, very difficult. Another absolutely great question. So, with the game of boxes, we have had some people that they're now playing this for the third time because their social conditioning is very heavy and they need to, so playing.
Yeah.
And they've also met people on there that are similar people to them. So, they're meeting a group that have a similar mind and mindset. And,
Okay.
and we were talking about this as a group the other day. And what you have to recognize is that different areas of our life give us different things. So I have a very happy marriage and I absolutely love my wife, and we have a very happy marriage and we have children and we have everything. I never have a conversation with her about energy, because that isn't where I have those conversations. I have those conversations with other people. And in the same way, don't talk about my family in those other groups because I talk about those. So, and some people have relationships where everything is together. And my family, my brother, who I love dearly, my brother, he doesn't understand what I do, isn't interested in what I do, doesn't have the same thing. But I have other brothers like you who we can have these conversations with. So, no, just because we just need to know where we can have those conversations. And some people say, oh, get rid of all those people that are negative. No, just know who they are. And what do they bring? What do they bring? So I have a group of
Yeah.
friends who we never talk about the stuff that I do, but we have fun, we enjoy each other, we are good company. But what is interesting is that sometimes with people that you don't talk about this energy stuff with, when things get very difficult, and I've had people contact me and they've said, Nick, you do all this stuff with mindset and energy, and I've really been struggling. Can we have a conversation and talk about this stuff? I go, yeah, absolutely. And I give them a little bit. They come to me. I don't then say, oh, you need to do this. You need to change your mindset. That's their life is their journey. So I have brothers online and offline like yourself that have these conversations, and I have friends and brothers in the outside world that we don't, and that's fine. That's fine.
That's great. That accepting the change and accepting others as they are.
Yeah.
This is just this is humanism, and
Mm,
that's what we have built for. So
yeah. And the
because
other thing I think,
everything,
can I,
yeah,
the one, sorry to rude of me to interrupt,
no,
but
no, 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 no,
the other thing I think is really important is if we live to our highest self and we say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and this is what I believe in, then that's all you can really do. And people that are interested in that will gather around you, as you'll have people gathering around you, because you say, this is what I stand for and this is what I'm about. So being true to yourself then gets to be your banner. So what banner do you walk behind? And you and I walk behind a banner of humanity and connection and unity. And that's why we've started a conversation and we've met each other online, because we're walking behind a very similar flag. Are we identical? Probably not, but we have a similar flag.
thoughts.
Yeah. You have hair. I'm jealous. I have no hair. It's all going. You've got great hair.
Thank you, thank you. Probably after some years, I will be
Yeah,
identical like you.
very true.
So,
Maybe not. Let's pray that that isn't the case.
I mean, this all things is related to meditation. What I believe, because you cannot imagine a great world with open eyes. You cannot visualize with open eyes. You have to close your eyes to see
Mm,
what others cannot see. You have to close your eyes to see the bigger picture. So
mm,
this all thing, I believe, that is related to meditation, one way or the other. So what do you recommend, how if someone wants to start a meditation, because people will see this after that, because it will be recorded, it will be provided on different platforms. So how one can start meditation as a beginner?
mm, mm. Great question. Great question again. Okay, the first thing is to recognize that often the people that are teaching meditations have a certain energy that will allow them to be A, interested in it, and B, perhaps find it easier. So the first thing is if you struggle with meditation because your mind jumps around and you have 1,001 ideas, and you're learning from someone that has lots of kind of earth energy or water, and can be really grounded, and you're like this, you're not going to be a grounded earth meditator. You're going to be someone that sees pictures. So the first thing is recognizing we all meditate in different ways. I think personally the easiest way to start with the meditation is the same as most cultures will have done, and that's using the breath, just using the breath. Some people, it works very well with a mantra, repeating a word, but I think just starting out doing something very simple with breath to start to let go of more than you're taking in. That's ultimately the meditation is about letting go. So there's a very, very simple one that you can use the breath. So you can use something very simple like to start, before you even start to think about meditating, you bring your energy down and you start to let go. And that one is very simple, that you just breathe in for, say, 3. You go, breathe in, 1, 2, 3. And then as you breathe out for a much longer number. So you then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that then you breathe in for 3, and then you breathe out for a much, much longer number. And that just starts to tell your energy that you're actually letting go of more than you're taking in. You're starting to let go. Because one of the difficulties we have with meditation to try and see and have visions is we're just too full. We're just too full of all the stuff the earth has given us, and we've got. So I think, and we can't meditate because we're too full. So I often say to people, just start out practicing emptying out, clearing the breath. So you go in for 3, then out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You just get empty. Then as soon as you start to get empty, you can have stuff can start to form, or you can bring peace. That's
Yes.
if you look at many faiths and many prayers and religion and things we do as part of our faith, they're often designed to allow us to empty ourselves out to our God, to our faith, just to allow us to give them the stuff, and we empty out. And then when we empty out, we can then have peace coming in. So my first thing to say to people, just if you're struggling to meditate, or just empty a bit. And then when you've emptied, there is space. And what will come into that space will be the divine, the light, it will come in because there is space, but we get too full to do that.
Yes.
Is it helpful?
Yes, it's very helpful because we Muslims pray in a specific way, and one of the questions that I mean, a person who's starting who start prayer, he always asks that when I go to prayer, I have different kinds of thoughts, and how can I remove that thoughts? And they ask, this is a very common question that a Muslim asks to their religious scholars, and it's a great answer that you have given, that how can you let go through breathing, that breathe in very slowly and breathe out very deeply. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing. Yeah, so I can relate to that. Yes.
There is another thing that's really important around this, and I think that example of when people start to pray, and then you realize, and I think that's a thank you for sharing that. The other thing that I think is really, really important within this is people often say, I have unwanted thoughts. Okay. And I don't think they're unwanted thoughts. What I think they are is unwanted answers. Okay. And what I mean by that is that if we ask a question, our unconscious mind has to answer that question. It has to answer it. It might not answer it straight away, and it also doesn't care what the answer makes you feel like. So if I was to ask the question, oh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? My unconscious mind will give me the answer and will tell me what's wrong with me. That might be an unwanted thought, hearing what's wrong with me, but I don't think it's an unwanted thought. I think it's an unwanted answer. So sometimes when we come to pray or we come to meditate, just the same as we're trying to remember something, and then we get in the shower or we relax, and suddenly it comes to us. Oh, yes, that's the name of the person. That's the name of the book. Oh, got it. Because all we've done is created a bit of space, and the answers come from our unconscious. So sometimes we're asking these unhelpful questions all day long, unhelpful questions. And then when we come to pray or we come to meditate or we come to be still, our unconscious goes, oh, here are all the answers to those questions you wanted about why you're so useless, why you haven't done this, why nobody likes you, whatever it might be. They're all coming, and you're going, oh, I've got these unwanted thoughts. No, you haven't. You've got unwanted answers. You just... So one of the things that we do at the Five Institute is we do work around the there isn't unwanted thought. We do work around the nature of the questions you ask in order to have answers that are helpful. To have... So if you were to ask the question in a difficult situation, why can I handle this? Then your unconscious mind will tell you why you can handle it. And I think that's actually quite a useful thought. Or you say, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I handle it? And it tells you why you can't handle it. I would call that an unhelpful thought. And that's what sometimes happens with our prayers. It's just a load of unwanted answers to questions we never should have asked.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why people get a different kind of revelations, different kind of ideas while they are taking shower, while they are in washroom. So that's one of the reasons. Because
very much.
mind have less clutter, mind have less noise. So the mind is giving subconscious is giving new ideas, new thoughts related to their questions. So I can relate to your answer. It's very good. Thank you for giving an amazing. So you talked about your books. How about your books? What are their title? How you write and what are their audience? Yes.
So we have got this book here called "The Story of Boxes: The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly," and this is all about how we put each other and ourselves in boxes. So that's a really good book. Then we have...
So is it on Amazon as well?
It's all on Amazon. And then we have The Art of Kind and Flowing Relationships. It's all on Amazon.
That's
and
great.
Also, if you go to my website, they're all there. So this is all about how we put people in boxes. And this is all about how we can have relationships that are kind and flow. Yeah. Everyone in the world needs to read this book.
Definitely.
I believe.
Yes. Yes, everyone has to read this because relationship. We all are humans, and why we all called social animals because we have to interact with people around us. Whether we are interacting with our spouses or we are interacting with our family or friends or even interacting with animals. So we have to learn these all kind of relationships, these all facets of life. That's amazing. So thank you for writing, and I'll definitely check it out, and I'll definitely recommend it to others. So thank you for coming. It's a great honor to have you on my show, and we did a great chat. So in the end, what would you suggest to the people who are listening and who will listen after that?
In terms of what do I suggest? In terms of what they should do next?
in terms of how they can interact, how they should interact with people, how they can benefit from their life, how they
Mm,
can get the most from their life.
okay. I think there's one really simple thing, and that is there is this saying in different cultures, and the saying is treat others the way that you want to be treated. Do you know that one? Treat others the way that you want to
Yes,
be treated.
the way
Uh,
treated. Yes.
I think that's a terrible suggestion. It's a
Okay.
very bad suggestion to do that. You should treat others the way that they want to be treated,
They
not the
want.
way that you want to be treated. So that would be my suggestion. Just treat others the way that they want to be treated, and be open and be flexible. And we will, as a world, we will get through this journey together. But we will only get through this journey together. And we will only get through this journey if we're open and we're flexible and we treat others the way that they want to be treated, with respect and kindness. And yeah, and then the final thing is be kind to yourself. We are very good at being kind to other people, but we're not as good. Many of us are not as good at being kind to ourselves. So be kind to yourself and treat others the way that they want to be treated, and be open. And we'll get through this together. We'll get through this together.
Thank you for the great answer, and it's an amazing talk, and I have learned that how people from different perspective, how one can see different things from a different perspective, and I hope we will meet again and again, and we will have a, I mean, maybe in future we will have a collaboration. So in the end, I will say that you should go to his website. It's a great test, a vitality test. I have given that test. It's an amazing thing, and also you should read his books. It's an amazing thought. Different thoughts have been written in simpler words, so you can go and check it out on Amazon or his website. So we will meet again, or
Yeah.
with another guest, in this show, but we will have another guest. So till then, bye bye.